Hello, welcome back to MyTechFun. I'm Igor and I have a LaserGRBL review in this video. And these two boxes are sent to me by xTool in exchange for a review. And this engraver is D1 Pro in golden red color, and this is RA2 Pro rotary attachment, which can hold not only cylindrical but also spherical objects too. Now the xTool have a very interesting request from me, and that's to make the video between 10 and 15 minutes. That's almost impossible for me, but I'll try it. So I will skip the unboxing and assembling part, and in this video mostly I will show you what can we do with these laser engravers instead of how to do it. A few specifications. As I mentioned, this is 10 watt version. The engraving area is 430 by 390 millimeters. And the engraving speed is 400 millimeters per second, that is 24,000 millimeters per minute. That's very fast. And also very interesting for me that it has those wheels from the steel, and they are rolling on the steel shafts. And I'm curious how they work. I never saw this, not even on LaserGRBL or 3D printer. It has easy focusing adjustment without needed for any kind of tools, and it has limit switches in all directions. So in X and Y they have two limit switches. I hope they worked, I don't know, like not just for homing, but also to prevent hitting the edge of the frame. Some laser engravers don't even have not even one limit switch, but here we have two for each axis, and that's a big plus. Safe to use, it has the flame detector and gyroscope, and interesting, they have their own software. It is compatible with Librem too, the engraver, but also they have developed their own engraving software. The rotary attachment, it is compatible with most of the cylindrical and spherical parts, so this is also a very interesting product.
Well, this is very fast version of the unboxing, a time-lapse video. I just want to show you how everything is very nice packed inside this box.
And this was content of the bigger box, so we have very detailed user manual, and also we have some book with ideas for the engraving and cutting. These are some sample materials. These are leg extenders, if you want to raise a little bit this engraver, if you want to use, let's say, the rotary attachment or engrave some bigger object. These are frames. We will take a closer look later. This is the laser module. The output is 10 watts. The power adapter output is 24 volts, 3.5 amperes. Zip ties, cables, and look at this nice cute toolbox. And another interesting thing that we have this protection case for the safety glasses. So these small details give me the feeling that this is more elegant product, not just another cheap laser engraver. Let's take a closer look of the frame. Interesting thing I noticed that this limit switch is optical, not mechanical. So when it moves here, this element breaks the light and it will be triggered. And same element they have on the other side. This means physically they have only one limit switch, but it can be triggered on both sides. This is a very clever solution. Now let's take a closer look of these wheels. I think they are the best visible on this element here, but we have them on several elements. As you can see, they are from metal and they slide on this metallic rod, so this means they are more durable compared to those rubber or silicone V-slot wheels. Just in case I want to mention, and now I notice that this rubber attachment is missing from two legs. And then I checked, they were in a box, hardly visible because they are also in a black color. I almost throw them out, so pay attention to this. For the assembling instructions, we have this great user manual, but also I find a very nice video on xTool YouTube channel.
This is a very quick version of the assembling. I just followed the instructions in user manual, starting with the frame, installing the X-gantry, tightening the belts, connecting the cable, and it was ready in less than 1 hour.
And assembling is finished in approximately 50 minutes. I just want to check the tension again on the timing belts, and it's ready for the first use. This is aluminum sheet to protect the desk, but I will just start here, but I will continue down in the basement.
And now my first impressions. Great and unique design. Not really my favorite cable management. I better like the drag chains, but this will do the job, and I can see the cables are not in the way. Maybe they use less space with this. I hope the limit switch on x-axis will work fine, because now it should be triggered, and I can see the air assist nozzle is a little bit too close to the cables and the zip ties, but if it stops here, then it will be fine. This module is very rigid, so this metallic wheels works great. And another good thing, that the center of the mass of this module is exactly here on this X gantry. This means we will have less vibrations even on those higher speeds. I really like this brilliant solution with this one limit switch, but actually it can stop on two sides. Setting the focus of the module is very comfortable too. There is a distancer which is attached here with the magnets, and I can rotate this knob and lower the module, tighten this knob and lift this distancer. And now the focus is set to the top of this surface. And I don't need any additional tool for this. My module is 10 watts, but with the 20 watt module there is additional scale for adjusting the depth of the cutting. Because we want to set the focus not on the top of the surface, but a little bit deeper. In that case the focus is lower and we can cut thicker materials too. Now I have to choose which software I want to install. I have the option xTool Creative Space or the Lightborn, which is not free, so I will use the xTool Creative Space. And another smart thing by xTool, the fan looks like it is rotating only when it is engraving, because now it is completely quiet but it is turned on. I started the xTool Creative Space and the cables are connected. Connect the device. I can now connect over the USB or the Wi-Fi. Well, I'll choose the USB cable. I have the notification that the latest firmware version is available, so I will just click the update. Firmware update success. Confirm. And I'm still connected. I can now insert some shape. Setting the engraving parameter. For the first try, 50% power and let's say 160 millimeters per second, 1 pass, 10 lines per centimeter. Process. Less than 1 minute. Let's check the framing. Glass is on and click on start. And there is it, my first engraving with the xTool. I really like this red cross, it is very helpful to exactly position the boundary of the engraving. I also want to check the connection over the Wi-Fi. There is a Wi-Fi settings. Wi-Fi setting failed, maybe because this is 5 GHz network. Let's try my Wi-Fi extender, which works on 2.4 GHz. Wi-Fi configuration is complete, so it looks like it requires 2.4 GHz network. Now I can disconnect the USB cable and it should work wirelessly. As you can see, now I disconnected the USB cable and I will try to start the engraving over the Wi-Fi network. It needed a few seconds until the G-code is sent over the Wi-Fi, properly saved to the SD card, and I can start the engraving. It's finished. Now the only problem is that I couldn't see the estimated engraving time on the laptop. But the engraving is finished. Probably I should raise the strength and lower the speed, but more experimenting down in the basement. But over the USB connection. So I moved down in my basement, but before I continue with the testing, few words about the software which I'm using now a couple of days. I moved from LaserGRBL and immediately I could find almost all functions which I was using there. The longest I was searching for the vectorize of the JPEG image. Here you can see some footage just in case you need it or just to remind me in the future if I forget it.
I still couldn't find the center line function from the LaserGRBL. If somebody knows, then you can write me down in the comment section how to do it. And basically this is much more than the LaserGRBL, because there we could do only one operation at a time. Here we can have, for example, engraving of the metal, and if needed after that operation, cut it out and have a final object. Also here I could, in maybe a minute or two, create a test file, with the squares, which will be engraving with a different speed and the power, in case I want to test some new material. But this is also great software for beginners, because it have preset materials, and if you are not familiar with the speeds and what power to use, you can just choose the material and try with that. And just in case, maybe in the second attempt to do some correlation, and in that case you can have a correct engraving or the cutting. Engraving a plywood, MyTechFun logo, but only the outlines, and the preset values for this material are 100% power and 60 mm per second. It's immediately quiet. Look at this quality, very nice sharp lines. This means the preset values works great, and absolutely no vibrations I can see on this engraving. The next is a text file engraving squares on different speeds and power, in case you have some unknown material and you want to do some test engravings. Here you can see the squares engraved from the 10% up to 100% on different speeds. So of course I would like to go with the higher speeds, and I can do it, for example, even on a 90 or 80% power. Test engraving of some grayscale image. Well, this time the preset values didn't work, definitely too strong. A little bit better, but I still don't have that gradient transition between two colors, so definitely I have to reduce the power too. First three lines are engraved on 150 mm per second, the lowest three on 100 mm per second speed with 180 and 60% power. Well, I still don't have that nice transition between white and black colors, so I think I have to modify the picture a little bit. Well, from this list, the second is the best. I think it's the wire type. So let's try to engrave some picture using this type of bitmap.
This is a timeless video of approximately 4 minutes.
Quite good. And when I engrave a face, I know it is successful if my camera recognizes it. It is a human face. Now let's do some cutting. This is 3 mm plywood, and I will do two cuttings, one without air assist and second with air assist, with the preset default values, which are 100% power and 3 mm per second. For the air source, I will use this aquarium air compressor, which I tested a few months ago. That's something I already know, so this is with air assist and this is without air, and this is much cleaner, even the hole and the cutting out part. Not bad is this part here, which is without air, because it has its own fan which blows quite good, but definitely air assist always helps with the cutting. This is the thicket plywood I have here. 5 mm is the thickness, and I will do a cutting on 2 mm per second full power with air assist. Well, that was the flame detector, but one pass is not enough anyway.
In settings I changed the flame alarm sensitivity from high to low, and I raised the engraving speed.
Cutting successful in two passes. A very nice sharp cutting, minimally burned edges even with these two passes. And now this 3 mm MDF wood, which is very hard for cutting, and in most cases I need sometimes 3, 4 or even 5 passes. Only once I could cut it in 2 passes, and let's see how many passes I need with this xTool 10W laser.
And cutting in only 2 passes and very nice sharp edges thanks to the air assist. And this is the second engraver which is able to cut this 3mm MDF in only 2 passes. The second is LaserMaster 3, but more burn edges here. 3mm black acrylic, and I will cut it with a 2mm per second full power. Here I have some fumes, so cut acrylic only in good ventilated room. And I can see it's cut and only didn't fall out because some melting part is holding it. But there it is. A very nice sharp cutting in only 1 pass. And this is that cutting part. Now let's try to engrave some stainless steel, and first I will engrave the outline of MyTechFun logo, and then I will do some black circle using a marker. Very nice so far, but we're cleaning with isopropyl alcohol. Very nice and sharp engraving, and I can feel that it is melted into material. And you can compare here other engravings with different machines. And for even darker results, you can use the black marker, and I will try to create a small spot here in between these 2 letters. And this is just a regular whiteboard marker. Well, it's not positioned so good, but I have a very nice black spot using the black marker on it. Well, one more attempt for positioning. I want to create a 1mm diameter spot exactly in the middle of the X. But this time I will use the 1% laser beam instead of this red cross for positioning. On the spot. Super precisely positioned, exactly when I wanted to, and I can do this theoretically with the red cross too, but I have to set the X and Y offset compared to the laser beam. Now let's test this rotary attachment, but first I have to leave the position of the engraver using these leg extenders. I just screw in the extenders to existing legs and move the rubber attachments. And now let's see what's in the box. And just quick time-lapse video of the unboxing. And this was content of the box, the rotary attachment. This is the main unit, and I can adjust the distance of these 2 cylinders with this bolt here. On this side it is movable. Then I have this support module. If it is longer, then it can be supported between these 2 wheels. This is the tail module, again for some kind of supporting, and this is a chuck which can hold some kind of small cylindrical objects like jewelry or something like that, and these are additional jaws for this chuck, tape measuring with some key, pulley, cables, tools, bolts, and one thing I couldn't find, but theoretically it should be included, and that's this mini leveler. I will start using the main unit, and first I wanted to try with some bigger diameter, and this is the biggest I could find now at home. Installing is very easy. I just replace the Y-axis stepper motor cable with this new one which was in the kit. So basically this stepper motor will replace the stepper motor of the Y-axis. I can change the distance between these 2 cylinders, but this is the distance I need for this engraving. I set the focus on the top of this surface. I will just try to engrave the outlines of this logo, but first I have to change from laser flat to laser cylinder. The roller mode. And there it is, and it's not even burdened over, so I can have the logo on the sticker. 50% power, 25mm per second speed. I want to engrave some text on this cylinder, but as you can see this cylinder is too small. So I have to move the cylinders of the roller closer. Well, definitely too strong engraving, but the main part was actually testing the rotary attachment. I don't have anything from the wood, so I will present it on this plastic part, but I will engrave only here. let's say we want to engrave something longer than the cylinders. In that case, we can use the support on the other side. I couldn't find the mini leveler in my kit, so I'm using this digital angle meter. Just for testing, 25 mm per second and only 40% power. And with this method I can engrave a longer cylindrical objects too. And now I notice I can do some marking with this method using a sticker. And now I want to use the chuck to engrave something on this bolt. Now there are different jaws which can be even 3D printed and they can be mounted here. But in this case I can use it directly with this bolt. I have to remove these cylinders and I have to screw the chuck holder here with 2 bolts. And then I have to install this pulley on the shaft of the stepper motor. And then it will be ready. In settings now I have to select that I'm using the chuck and it is asking for the perimeter or the diameter. I know the diameter is 10 mm. Well, something is there, but let's clean it and see what's visible. And I hope it's visible on camera, the engraving is there. I have this some kind of ring and I want to engrave something on the surface. I already measured the outer diameter is 28 mm. And with very simple calculation, I could engrave on the whole length of this perimeter. The length of the object on y-axis is the diameter multiplied pi. And now the conclusions. Well, this video is a little bit shorter than usual because the detailed instructions you can find on xTool's official YouTube channel. In this video I just wanted to show you what can we do with this laser engraver, which is actually great. Let's start with the module. One of the strongest, if not the strongest laser module I tested so far. You saw with that MDF wood cutting, only 2 laser engravers which I tested can cut it in 2 passes. With all other I needed at least 3, sometimes even 6 passes to cut through that 3 mm MDF. Design is great. According to my wife, this is the best laser engraver I tested so far because of the design and the color. Okay. With D1 Pro I don't have that feeling that this is another 98-99% finished product. Everything works, hardware, software, and they work together perfectly. Small details. I really like these metallic wheels on steel rods. They will be much more durable compared to the rubber or silicone V-slot wheels. Another small thing, the fan of the module. It will be disabled when the module is not in use. Of course, it's logical, but that's not the case with every laser engraver. Actually, the best thing I like with this product is the xTool creative space, the software part. Especially for me because I used LaserGRBL so far. So this is completely new level and everything works perfectly in synchron with this D1 Pro. The best thing is basically I can have multiple operations in one file. So for example, I can do some engraving and when it's finished, immediately cut out that part to have some kind of medal or something like that. About the RA2 Pro rotary attachment, well, this is definitely a very versatile product, but it's a little bit complicated. So if you want to change it, you need to do some assembling using some bolts. So maybe there is some space for improvements to have some clips or something like that. So replacing the chuck or moving the cylinders, we don't have to unscrew the small bolts. Pay attention, don't lose them because they are very small. But to some kind of clip or pin, and it can be moved much faster. Small thing, but well, there is small space for improvements. I noticed that sometimes the RSS nozzle or protection glass is in the way. Well, the glass could be attached with magnets, and in that case we could easily remove it if necessary. Here is an example from different module. But definitely highly recommended product from my side.
I really like it, and thank you xTool for sending me for the review. Recently I noticed that xTool published their infrared module, which can be replaced with this one. It is great for engraving metals, all kind of metals. I hope I will have opportunity to test that too. If you have some additional experience with D1 Pro, you know, let me a line in the comment section. And thank you for watching, and happy and safe engraving.